Academy Awards named their nominees for the upcoming Oscars, but unfortunately, for the second year in a row, they did not nominate any black actors or actresses. And as a result, there are some members of the black community who are threatening to boycott the Oscars. Jada Pinkett Smith and Spike Lee are just two of those individuals. And just recently, Jada Pinkett Smith released a video on her Facebook page, on MLK Day actually, to make some pretty strong and honestly good statements and points about why she plans on boycotting the Oscars. Take a look.
The Academy has the right to acknowledge whomever they choose, to invite whomever they choose. And now I think that it's our responsibility now to make the change. Maybe it is time that we pull back our resources and we put them back into our communities, into our programs, and we make programs for ourselves that acknowledge us in ways that we see fit, that are just as good as the so-called mainstream ones. I don't know. Here's what I do know. Begging for acknowledgement or even asking diminishes dignity and diminishes power. And we are a dignified people, and we are powerful, and let's not forget it.
So there are so many different factors at play. Factor number one, I would argue, is a lack of diversity when it comes to those voting for the Oscars. And to be honest with you, the Academy has even come forward and admitted that they lack diversity, and they're going to plan on fixing that in some way in the future. We'll see what happens. But we had a similar controversy last year, and it doesn't seem like anything changed. Now, some people are arguing that, hey, you know, maybe the issue is that they just haven't put out any good movies. You know, that's just the way the world works. But A, that's not necessarily true. A number of really great movies featuring very talented black actors and actresses did come out this year, including, but not limited to, Straight Outta Compton, which was an incredible movie. Even if you're not into that genre of music or, you know, the people that it's supposed to represent, it was still an incredible movie.
And it was such a pop culture moment. Yeah. I think it really kind of captured, at least to me, it was like very zeitgeisty this year. Like there was such a conversation, a discourse around it, and to ignore that completely is just sad.
It's beyond sad. Creed, which I did not see, and Beasts of No Nation, which was also an incredible movie. Definitely check that out. I think it's still on...
Is this on Netflix, right?
Netflix, yeah. It was an incredible movie that I also really liked. But the acting in it was incredible. The storyline was incredible. The issue that it was tackling was incredible. And so what's really at play here? So, look, there are good movies that came out this year that involve, you know, minorities. However, I had a really interesting conversation with a black actor yesterday. And he was telling me that, you know, he's kind of stressed out because pilot season is coming up in February. And he's like, oh, but for black actors, pilot season is actually February and March. And I was like, that's why? Why is that? Yeah. Because in February, casting directors make all the decisions about casting, right? So they'll basically hire, book all of these actors and actresses. And then in March, they realize, oh, wait, the diversity thing. Our cast is too white. We need to do something about it.
So then they go about finding a token actor.
Right.
And when the role wasn't even necessarily created in the first place.
That's right.
A minority actor.
And he said that's the reason why oftentimes when you see a black actor portrayed, it's a very generic role. It's a guy playing the same role over and over again. And you know, that has ramifications on society and stereotypes as a whole, but it also has very dire ramifications on minority communities who might want to be part of the entertainment industry, but they get deterred by this type of, you know, racism.
And, you know, we have to attack the root and the foundation of the problem, which is so many steps back from, you know, the Academy Award nominations, which this, you know, luckily every year around this time, this conversation gets a lot of noise and a lot of attention, but it needs noise and attention constantly. And, you know, I feel like it's always simmering, it's brewing, and luckily there's more and more attention paid to it, but the real issue is not so much the fact is that there are not even enough movies. There should be more, right, for it to even be nominated. You know, we shouldn't have to name 3 or 5, or, you know, we need to get actors like in these roles. There need to be, you know, the more diversity among writers, among in the hallowed halls of like Hollywood power brokers, whether that's studio heads or all of, and that's going to take a lot of time, right?
Yes.
And I feel like the Oscar nominations are always this like Band-Aid on a gaping wound, essentially. And every once in a while, 12 Years a Slave, or, you know, another film will break through the surface, and it's this Band-Aid on something, or, you know, Denzel Washington will win, or, and it's not, and these are such important milestones, but I don't want to detract from the situation at hand, which is always, this is like an ongoing, like constant thing, you know, constant situation that has to be addressed.
And remember, when 12 Years a Slave won the Academy Award, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that movie, that's another incredible movie, there were those blaming the Academy for voting in favor of that movie just to make, you know, the black community happy. Like, you can't win, right? Like, it's so, that movie deserved the Academy Award. It just did. And all of this pushback from those who deny that the racism exists in this world, they're lying to themselves. And it's not just black actors and actresses, it's also Latinos. We did this incredible story a few years ago. It was an expose written by, I believe, the Daily Beast, and it talked about how Latinos, more than any other group of people in the entertainment industry, are typecasted. Because if you are a Latino woman or a Latina, you are supposed to be like that sex pot. You're supposed to be fiery. You got to be Sofia Vergara, for instance. And then with, you know, Latino men, they're like the dangerous ones, or, you know, it's beyond frustrating for people that are part of that world. And just to give you some hard numbers and statistics on what's going on with the Academy itself, these are the people that are doing the voting. Many have highlighted the significance of the Academy's membership, which is 94% white and 76% male, with a median age of 62. In a statement released late Monday night, Academy President Cheryl Boone Isaacs vowed to shake things up. Okay, so Cheryl Boone Isaacs is saying that they're going to attempt to make it a little more diverse. Diversity is definitely important, but there's also the issue of ignorance among the voters. So I want to get to that in a second. Last year, it included a voter who selected a movie for Best Foreign Language Feature because of the cool-looking carcass on the poster without actually even watching it or any of the other nominees. Another said that she didn't watch 12 Years a Slave because she didn't want more terrible stuff to keep in my head. As a result, she chose other films for 2014's Best Picture. In the Best Animated Movie category last year, one voter selected Big Hero 6 after describing 2 other nominees as irrelevant because they were obscure freaking Chinese fucking things that nobody ever freaking saw. One of these films was Irish and the other was Japanese, and both received rave reviews from mainstream critics. Look, when these stories come out, it completely belittles the significance or relevance of the Oscars.
Yeah, it's so subjective, and it's like held out as this like shining beacon of an award that you can receive, and then you see that it's like these dipshits in the voting block who don't even watch. I mean, I'm like, this isn't your, like, it's not a party at the Oscar poll that you're filling out so you can win some popcorn or whatever. This is like people's lives and reputations and careers are built and destroyed on this kind of thing. And clearly people in the Academy don't really take it that seriously. I mean, I know these are, you know, highlighted examples that are extremely egregious, but I would say for sure you can look at the voting process and be like, well, this needs to be overhauled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And make it representative nationally. Actually even watching it or any of the other nominees. Another said that she didn't watch 12 Years a Slave because she didn't want more terrible stuff to keep in my head. As a result, she chose other films for 2014's Best Picture. In the Best Animated Movie category last year, one voter selected Big Hero 6 after describing 2 other nominees as irrelevant because they were obscure freaking Chinese fucking things that nobody ever freaking saw. One of these films was Irish and the other was Japanese, and both received rave reviews from mainstream critics. Look, when these stories come out, it completely belittles the significance or relevance of the Oscars.
Yeah, it's so subjective, and it's like held out as this like shining beacon of an award that you can receive, and then you see that it's like these dipshits in the voting block who don't even watch. I mean, I'm like, this isn't your, like, it's not a party at the Oscar poll that you're filling out so you can win some popcorn or whatever. This is like people's lives and reputations and careers are built and destroyed on this kind of thing. And clearly people in the Academy don't really take it that seriously. I mean, I know these are, highlighted examples that are extremely egregious, but I would say for sure you can look at the voting process and be like, well, this needs to be overhauled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And make it representative, nationally representative.